Hey guys, before I take you to today's content, I want you guys to take advantage of our Pro Web Legal Services Initiative that we have going on right now in the second quarter of 2024. What is that? Well, it's a website that you get 100% full-blown website with 1 year maintenance, comes with SSL certificate, hosting, etc., all for 50% less than the normal cost. This offer used to be $4,500. We're now giving it to you for $2,250, 100%, no strings attached. All you have to do is go to the show notes right now and click on the link where it says Pro Web Legal, and you'll get all the information. So until then, enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms, the podcast that provides you with all the latest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are looking to substantially increase your caseload in the next 6 months, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today, I have a repeat guest from season 4. And he's a dynamo of itself, a person who understands marketing to the legal industry. And with that, I'm talking about the great Hugo Gomez. How you doing, Hugo?
Awesome, Frank. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you coming back on because, you know, you and I have great synergy together. We service the same clientele, maybe a little differently because you have a unique niche in terms of the attorneys that you service. Why don't you talk about that? Just update us on who you service and so we can get going with the content today.
Yeah, so my company is Abogados NOW. We do Spanish marketing, Spanish digital marketing only for attorneys across the U.S. And the last time you and I spoke, we did a lot of standard agency services in Spanish, like websites and videos and things of that nature. But we've really narrowed our focus into social media video. That's where we're getting the majority of our leads now in Spanish. So, that was just a few months ago. And I think that just shows how much has changed in the agency space in the last few months.
Awesome. Now, just so we're clear, when you say in Spanish, we're talking about people here in the U.S. who service Latin, the Latin community, correct?
Yeah. So like a typical attorney, let's call it John Smith in Houston, is a workers' comp attorney. He'll call us and say, Hugo, I don't speak any Spanish, but I know there's a lot of Hispanic people around my neighborhood. And I have a bilingual staff. I want to get more clients from this community. How can you put me in front of the Hispanic community? And so our job is to film them and document them and build these strategies for the firm so that the Hispanic community knows that John Smith and his firm can communicate to this community in Spanish.
Oh, man, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. Again, I mean, that is one of the most unique niches. That's down to really niching down, and you basically cornered the market. So that's awesome. So tell me, you service the entire U.S., I'm assuming. Have you planned on doing anything internationally?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, there's so much work. There's so much work in the United States. I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
I would love to. I think Latin America is a great market. Central America, South America, Mexico. There's a I haven't met this guy. I don't know his name, but he owns the company elabogado.com, and it's a Spanish legal directory.
Interesting.
But literally Spanish, meaning from Spain. And he has since expanded to the States. And I love seeing that. I think it shows that there's a lot of confidence in this market beyond rather like this strategy. There's a lot of confidence in this strategy in global market. So I could see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I have to check out that directory. Now, does that directory cater to just Latino speaking attorneys, or
Yeah.
what's the whole?
It's just any attorney that wants to be listed on a Spanish directory for like Hispanics who are looking for legal help in their language. So so
Nice.
most of the attorneys in our programs don't speak any Spanish. The only
Nice.
requirement we have is that they have a team member that does speak Spanish that can service either intake or even the client interaction.
Right. Right. And most of the people you service, they touch on all practice areas, right? Estate
Yeah.
planning, family law, personal injury, etc. Okay.
All of it. Yeah. People that live in the States, Hispanics that live in the States have the same issues that the general market has. So yeah, same practice areas.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. I want to get into some, as you know, this is a marketing show. I want to get into some of the stuff that we talked about prior to hitting record. Things that attorneys out there, if you're listening to the recording right now, what you should look out for in terms of what's going on in the digital marketing space for attorneys today. So I think that was some really good information that we talked about. I'm going to regurgitate that information again. We're talking about, and you're probably getting hit up on this a lot, guys out there. The audience I'm talking to right here, this pay per lead campaign that's going out there now. So let's talk a little bit about that, Hugo. What are the pros and cons of this new pay per lead venture that's going on?
I don't know. I think we're in a pay per lead bubble. There are so many companies offering these wild guarantees like 50 MBA signups guaranteed or your money back and then some. It's just wild, the offers that are out there. I think right now we're just in a bubble of a lot of over promising and under delivering. Generally speaking, with these pay per lead guarantees, we see many of them fall short. And the reality is that it just works well enough to an extent that attorneys just renew regardless of that guarantee stipulation. But generally speaking, overwhelmingly, we talk to attorneys all the time and we ask them how their other lead sources are doing. These ones with the most wild guarantees are always too good to be true. The other bubble that we're seeing is with a hyper oversaturation of new agencies. And I credit that towards a lot of internet content out there appealing to
Yeah.
young 20 somethings with their Ferrari dreams, telling them to start an agency and become a millionaire overnight if you market to, attorneys and dentists. Generally speaking, these are really low priced options managed by folks with little to no digital marketing experience.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we're in this bubble of over promising. Maybe it's not a pay per lead bubble. It's like we are in an over promise bubble where there's so many shops out there too inexperienced to do the really difficult work in legal marketing. I know on the pay per lead side, it's just a bubble of over promising. It's wild. And I think we're in a bubble to the extent that most of these shops won't be around in a few years. I love the idea of pay per lead though. It does work when it's like managed by a really awesome practitioner, but those are oftentimes the most expensive ones.
Yeah. It's funny. I do a hybrid. So I do pay per lead for the first 3 months. Like if I want to get in the door with someone, but when they realize that my retainer is cheaper, then they switch over to the retainer.
Yeah.
And then, so I give them that opportunity, but in my paper lead programs, I don't offer, I don't promise, 50 leads, in the next 3 months or 50 leads in the next 2 weeks or whatever. I've seen some different things, but it's weird. I don't promise that because I don't know. I don't know, but I'll tell them, hey, let's pay per lead. If you don't want to pay my retainer, here's the lead price. When you start seeing that it exceeds that, we can switch to the retainer. And that way it's cheaper for you. But here's the deal. Then we get a 12-month contract if that's the case.
Yeah.
Then people
That's
switch over.
fair. That seems super fair. Yeah, and I'm glad I like that transparency because we often talk to attorneys and they tell us, hey, Hugo, like the cost of your fees plus your estimated acquisition cost is much higher than my other vendor who is 5 times cheaper all in. And I always tell them, hey, go to them. Like, tap that out. Like, you should not be on this phone call with me. You should be on a phone call with that practitioner, getting as much as you can, as much volume at that low price as you possibly can. And then when you want to get more, just call me back. That's fine. Like, let's do that. Like that transparency, it just seems so rare now in the marketing space. And I feel like that's why attorneys, they should have a lot of filtering and discretion before, selecting their partner, because their marketing partner, because it's difficult out there. It's so few folks want to have like genuine, honest business conversations.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, but but I believe in transparency. I think the reason why I haven't hit the, $20 million mark is because I'm too transparent. But but I have to sleep at night, and that's my whole goal. But so how do you see this bubble bursting, if you will? What's give us some nuggets as to what you feel. I mean, obviously you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you feel what can happen in the next, say, 6 months to a year with this?
I think a lot of these hyper guaranteed pay-per lead shops and the high volume of agencies led by really inexperienced, although very sincere young folks that don't have much experience in the space. I just think it's just going to be evolution. They're just going to be weeded out as a result of not living up to the promise. It's dicey because you can't make promises in marketing. I've never once made a promise to an attorney. All I can promise them is that we're going to do the best work we can. We're going to deliver the most unique marketing to give them market distinction. But to the extent where I'm going to guarantee them revenue or a business outcome, it's wild. I mean, in the interest of transparency, we tell attorneys all the time, are you willing to accept that being in a relationship with us is a relationship? Meaning we're going to do a lot of work, but we're also going to expect a lot of work from you and your team. We're going to deliver calls. We want you to answer them. We want to learn more about your calls. You better give us feedback. We want to know what clients you rejected. You got to tell us what you want and what you don't want from these calls. This is a relationship, man. And I feel like this bubble that we're in, this like overpromise bubble, is a result of a lot of inexperienced shops wanting a lot of quick dollars, making these guarantees. There are just no guarantees in legal marketing, in any marketing. Right. It's a risk. And we tell attorneys all the time, like, you're on this phone call talking to me, a medical professional, a marketing professional, about what you want to do with your business. So you've already accepted that you need to take a risk. Would you agree?
Correct.
And they'll typically say, yeah, you're right. I need to take a risk. And I'm like, so you're not right now at that point of figuring out, do I need to take a risk? You're trying to figure out, who do I want to manage my risk? If I go to a wealth manager and I tell him, here's a bunch of money that I want you to hold on to for 10 years, I'm hoping that they're making the right stock bets for me. Exactly. And I'm choosing them just based on my gut, their references, their history.
Yeah.
And so I tell attorneys all the time, like, this is risk. There's a very small chance that none of this will work, that you will lose 100% of your money.
Hmm.
But there's also a much higher chance that this is going to work out great. You're going to be cash positive and you'll just reinvest in yourself.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that these guys in the bubble, the overpromise bubble, they're not talking about how marketing is a risk. They're talking about how marketing is a sure bet. It never is. Marketing will always be a risk. You just
Yeah.
need to find out who do you want to manage your risk.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to point out, I like what you said there, because I always try to point out to people I speak to for the first time is that this is a partnership. I'm looking for a partnership. I'm not looking for, a 3-month relationship and then, then we walk off and to the sunset. No, I'm looking for a partnership. So, understand that I'm a human being and I manage a bunch of human beings who are going to mess up
Yeah.
and we're going to make mistakes. So I understand that, I want to make sure that you know that we're going to fix those mistakes to make sure that it's a positive ROI on your end. That's the only thing. And that's important. But one of the things that I find out, and that I don't know if you've noticed this, that a lot of these pay per lead programs are coming from these masterminds that all of a sudden have popped up, and they're pretty costly. So a lot of times these people have these exorbitant like pay what you would call it setup fees.
Yeah.
And all of these setup fees are exorbitant because they're trying to get their money back from this mastermind cost.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's a great business. Conferences are a great model,
Yeah.
They're a great model. They're 5-figure expenses for many of
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's their prerogative. It's a free market, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the advantage though from these masterminds is, I've only heard good things more than the bad. And I think that's cool. That's cool that there's an outlet for people to have that community, that very confidential inner close circle where they could speak freely about these things, not feel dumb or judged upon. That's cool. And if they vet out vendors that they feel like are good for the community, that's great. I want to hear more of that, but I mean, candidly, no bullshit. I haven't heard of a single pay per lead vendor with these guarantees that has met their promise. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess we're just going to have to deal with these folks for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. All right. So switching gears for a little bit. What are you working on for 2024? What are your goals? How do you feel? What What are the next steps of how you can help attorneys with real marketing stuff, none of this paper lead crap? Get going with their law firms.
Right now, like I feel like my job as the owner of the company is to study and obsess over AI. I know everyone is saying that, but I'm actually doing the homework and like studying a lot and talking to a lot of experts. No one has a crystal ball, but just trying to figure out the what ifs.
Right.
So there's a bunch of what ifs that I'm thinking about this year. The first one is TikTok. Um, we do a lot of TikTok marketing. It's not a huge part of our business, but what I wonder about is the what if TikTok gets banned, shut down in the United States, where are all those users going to go? That's the first question I have. And I'm sure there's overlap with the other social media channels, but I'm curious where they're going to go. That is something I'm trying to stay on top of because I think whoever guesses correctly is going to have great CPMs, CPLs, just great unit economics for their attorney clients. I think that's really top of mind for me right now.
My guess would be shorts, YouTube shorts. That's my guess.
I think you're right.
But let's see what happens. Could be
That's my
Instagram.
guess.
It could be Instagram Reels. But my guess would be YouTube Shorts.
I think so too. If this were Vegas, I would bet on shorts. Like I love Instagram Reels and I don't use Facebook, but I'm aware enough about it. But TikTok, or rather YouTube Shorts is where I'd bet the outcome for, in a post TikTok universe.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to prepare for that, where those audiences are going. And then with AI, it's like, what will Google look like in the next 5 years?
Hmm.
We do a lot of Google marketing, like the search marketing, right?
Yeah.
Like paid
Yeah.
ads. And I do wonder about, I have this theory that Google will have free Google with ads,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll have a paid Google without ads, but they're both going to be AI enabled. I think the UX is going to look different. And I feel like the ads on the free version of AI Google are going to be super duper expensive.
Mm.
That's where I'm trying to like get expertise on, like, what does UI look like in this post GPT world? I'm
Yeah.
really curious about that. Like those two things I feel like are fundamental to attorneys getting more clients.
You may be onto something because I remember when ChatGPT came out,
Yeah.
CEO, well, not I mean, it was out already, but people like you and I knew about it, but like the rest of the world didn't. But the CEO of Google, I heard, was pissed off that Microsoft beat him to it.
Yeah.
So you may be onto something. Like, so they're probably onto something like more advanced, like more like, hey, let's stick it to them kind of thing, and let's
I
do
think
this
so.
model. Yeah, you may be right. Yeah, that's
It,
interesting.
I'm hearing more people in my professional life, in my personal life, they're saying, "Oh, I just Googled it." Rather, they're saying, "I just chat GPT'd it," to the same extent that they're saying I Googled it. And
Yeah.
I found myself doing this like by like automation the other day. I needed like a
Mhm.
really particular Excel formula. And instead of Googling it, I asked GPT a really specific outcome that I needed from this particular spreadsheet, and it spit it out without any error. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I understand. It's kind of wild to get it like this late in the game, but I'm understanding why the adoption rate is so high.
Oh
It's because
yeah.
you don't have to sift the results. And it
Yeah.
sounds so obvious, but I think this is bigger than everyone thinks. That
Oh, it's
that that
huge.
that UX experience, or that user experience, is like, it feels like the iPhone coming out,
Yeah. No,
right?
it's true. It's true. I had a not a client, an attorney on this show because I have a segment on this show called Meet the Attorney. So where I interview attorneys. And he's an entrepreneur. He's not just an attorney, but he was telling me on the show how he used Chat GPT. It's amazing. And he wanted to start this business that did this. He did XYZ, and he put every specific detail on Chat GPT. And the fact and one of the caveats was that the domain need to be available. And then ChatGPT just gave it all its information of how he should do it, what was the domain. Now he had like 3 or 4 iterations of it until he found the right one that he liked.
Right.
Boom. He bought the domain. He called his buddy. He goes, hey, let's launch this.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are enjoying today's content. While I have you on here, I want to introduce you to a promo that we have going on for the spring of 2024 for all legal practices throughout the U.S. I have an outstanding offer that we've never been able to offer before, but we want to do it because you have been an avid listener. We're only promoting this to people who listen to the show. So if you're an attorney and you are an avid listener to the show and you're thinking about possibly opening your own practice, you want to pay attention to this announcement. We are offering a full website with hosting, SSL certificate, online booking service, online appointment management, and more, and much more, with a 1-year maintenance, all for $2,250. That's $2,250 $250 one-time fee, and you have a full-fledged website. If you want to know more about this, just give us a call at 888-416-7752 or send us an email at info@lbmsllc.com. Just make sure that you mentioned that you heard it on the show, and we'll definitely get you that discount. So with that, I'm going to bring you back to the content.
Yeah, I love it. So I think it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's like on the practitioner side, right? On the practice side. And I feel like everyone's having this conversation about how do we incorporate this in our business, because I think everyone knows now that everyone knows not necessarily how AI is going to affect their business, but everyone knows that if they don't start figuring it out, they're going to be out of business.
Yep.
That's like pretty scary. It's like, we all know we need to do this really ambiguous thing. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know what it's going to feel like in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We just know that if we don't do it, we're out.
We're out. Exactly.
It's a weird position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm particularly doubling down on learning more about the space. I just want to be the dumbest person in the room in these AI conversations, because I know that's going to be better for our clients. It's going to be better for our employees. It's going to be better for everybody. So I just feel like right now, even attorneys that are owners, like, that's our responsibility. It's trying to figure out what the next 5 years is going to look like.
Yeah, exactly. You got to, they are relying upon us to do that.
Yeah, totally.
But attorneys are very intelligent, and they hear different things in the marketplace. So you better be on your game.
Yeah,
if you're servicing attorneys.
Oh yeah,
because the same things that you're hearing, they're hearing, but you have to go a little deeper than what they're hearing. That's really the difference.
A lot of attorneys during the lockdowns, the COVID lockdowns, I remember a lot of attorneys telling me, like, we're not doing this virtual work. We don't need to do that. We're going to be okay. Almost all of them that I spoke to that had that mindset, they're not around anymore. And it's interesting, because now I'm talking to attorneys about AI. They all know that they need to do this. They all know that they don't have a choice, and it's not even a generational thing. It's like I speak to attorneys that have been in the business for 50 years, for 5 years. Universally, there's just this agreement that it's AI or die.
It's here.
It's here.
It's here. I had another attorney on, who was a personal injury attorney. He was deathly afraid of these self-driving cars, because he said it's going to put a huge dent in his business. But we both came into agreement that it's going to be a long time before that happens.
Yeah.
Because people like I don't know about you, Hugo, but me, I have control issues. I do not trust this car to take me to my mom's house. Yeah. Without me touching the wheel. No, I don't know about that.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Yeah. There's one attorney that I know that he says that PI attorney, he thinks that there's going to be lanes for people that, like yourself, that have control issues. There's going to be highways only for people that want to drive, and then everything else, all other highway infrastructure, is going to be built for self-driving, which I think is a wild theory. It just feels so far away, but I wouldn't rule it out.
You never know. Yeah,
you never know. So, but I'm glad personal injury attorneys are having that conversation, because I do think that they have an existential crisis, and it is generational. But at some point, not many people will be driving their own vehicles. Thus, there will be less accidents, unless robots want to kill us.
Yeah, but there are malfunctions, though. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
a malfunction can happen.
Then it becomes product liability.
Exactly. There was a Tesla, I think, 3 years ago or whatever it was, that blew up.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it was driving out. Well, it wasn't driving. it was on and a red light, and all of a sudden it just started lighting up. Luckily,
Yeah.
the guy got out of the car, and then it just. I mean, these things happen. It's not a common thing,
Yeah.
but it happens. So, whatever.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
not looking forward to self-driving. I'm actually also a control freak, so I get it.
yeah, I don't know. I feel funny about. I've have you rented one of those cars ever?
No, I don't trust it. I mean, I've seen it as an option when I travel,
Yeah.
and I opt out of that. No, no, thank you.
So I took the plunge once, and because I really wanted to check it out, right?
Okay.
So I mean, I didn't put the option on to do it all of us, all the time, but in one particular stretch, I did press the button, and it's such an eerie feeling to feel the thing changing lanes for you.
Oof.
I mean, I turned it off right away because I only had it on for like maybe 20 minutes, but I was like, whoa, this is crazy. It just was changing lanes for me.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
it's an interesting thing. It's very, 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 very interesting. So that's the future.
yeah. Yeah. But I think what you're bringing to light is like the change is inevitable, but the change has never been this compounding,
Mm-hmm.
on just like life in general, just transportation is
Mm-hmm.
ultimately going to be different in just 10 years, if not less. Like fundamentally different than the last 100 years of transpo, guaranteed. And then
Yeah.
we're seeing the same in client acquisition,
Right.
compound effective AI. It's just it's massive. It's everything's going to change, which is great for those of us that like change and want to embrace it. But generally speaking, it's everyone's taking a guess right now, which is, you know,
Yeah. It's the only thing we can do.
only thing we can do. So I'd rather
Yeah.
guess and get it wrong than wait for someone to tell me what to do when it's too late.
Yeah. 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 All right. So now, last time we spoke, because I took notes, you were venturing off into the solo practitioner avenue. How's that going? Are you still doing that, or backed off from that? What's that
Like
all about?
like helping solos out.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's grown quite a bit. We help a lot of solos out, in injury law, immigration, family, criminal defense is growing quite a bit. So, what we try to do is we give solos a really reduced program to get clients in through our marketing strategies, show them that this can scale quite quickly, and to then show them different service lines thereafter. So we try to get them aware of what's easiest right now. It's typically some blend of media buying and website design and video creation. And thereafter, we try to expand, the service lines based on their needs. So it's not for everyone. We have a lot of solos that just want steady business, which is great. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we love talking and working with the solo practitioners who have really big goals for the next 5 years. Like that's super exciting.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about video. So video is, obviously is here to stay, but would you say, and maybe you're seeing something different. With me, I find that there are certain practice areas that convert well with video, and then
Mhm.
there's others that the still images, if you're talking about a social media lead generation service, that converts better with a still video versus a video. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah, almost to the extent where we don't do any image ads.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like, and it doesn't even need to be professionally shot. Like we love the videos where it's like, hey, I'm shooting myself for 30 seconds. Like those ads do great. But even just anything that's just moving, motion, graphics, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't need to be like live human beings or a professionally shot thing. As long as it's a video and it appears on Reels or Shorts or TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's going to grab the attention. So we're all in on video. I think there's always going to be some great image ads, but it's not where the trends are for audiences, audience engagement. So we just move away from anything that's like diminishing in audience engagement. And right now it's all video.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to an immigration lawyer the other day. He's very shy. And I
Yeah.
was telling him that. I said, listen, we can really, I mean, you're doing well, but we can like probably double what you're doing if we go on video. And man, he almost looked like he was like, I don't know. Because I told him the same thing like you're saying. It doesn't have to be professionally shot. It could be just your phone. You
Right.
put a tripod up, you talk about whatever. And I even give you a script of what you should say. And that's it. Just record it over and over and over again until you get it right. Send it to me, and then we'll. And yeah, I'm still waiting, but that was in February. But
Yeah, attorneys don't want to accept that marketing their firm online is a mindset of turning your firm into a media company.
yeah,
I mean, it's the inevitable truth.
that's
Like
what it's going towards.
you
Yeah.
have to be a media company as much as you are a legal organization. And it's similar to AI or virtual work. If you're not doing those things, you're not going to survive. I really believe that attorneys that are on their phones, on camera more often, those are the ones that are going to win. It's going to replace the billboards, right? Like all the ones that put their mug on a billboard 20, 30 years ago, they're killing it today. They're the $5 billion plus dollars settled in the last 30 years firms, right? And I feel like the new version of that is the phone. If your face is recognizable and your face shows up regularly, we're talking about a couple times a week for everyone in your market,
For everything. Yeah.
you win. You win. And it's like, it's okay to be shy, but it's like, just do it. Who cares about getting it right or perfect?
Yeah. Just if you just do it, you'll see the results. That's the message. So yeah, so video is king. I believe that's part of, I attribute that to content marketing.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're providing content, but in a video format. That's all. I love podcasts. I mean, are you a big podcaster?
I mean, I've been appearing on more of them. Um, and honestly, I don't know why. Other than like it's like I get to meet cool people like you, right? That's awesome. But has it affected my business or generated new clients? Not really. I just think it's important to be out there for as many people as possible, right? And I've accepted that I don't run just an agency. I run an agency that is also a media company. So I have to be out there. That's my job. My job is to shake hands and be on podcasts and share my opinions and disagree with people and write op-eds. And I think that like I practice what I preach. Like there's so many agencies out there that say, oh, you got to do video and social media. And they have like the most non-existent marketing like presence in the world. Like everything that we talk about and sell and promote, we do. We do text marketing, we do email marketing, we do video, we do podcasts, we update our website all the time. Like we really believe in what we sell. And so I think with regard to like the podcast, it's just like just be in front of as many people as possible. Stop trying to like understand how it all works. It's just be everywhere. That's my approach.
That's very important. Yeah, I mean, I like podcasts. This to me, running this podcast has replaced blogging because I hated writing. So that's why I created this podcast to create content for people. And I get to interview. And then I started at first when I did it, it was a monologue. It was just me talking.
Yeah.
Then I started doing interviews and I got to meet people like yourself and other people. So I was like, now I'm bringing more experts into it. So they don't have to hear just me. So they see that other industry leaders are saying the same things that I'm saying. Plus, it gives you an opportunity to get exposure. So it's a win-win for everyone. So I think that's what it's all about with me. And does it give business? I mean, for me, it does.
That's
But
great. Tell
but
me, how do you do it?
well, I've been doing it for a long time. That's number one. So they have a lot of stuff out there. But I mean, but it doesn't. It is a very low cost, and it's very
True.
easy for me to get behind this mic and say what I want to say. Very simple.
I love that you said it's low cost because attorneys associate low cost marketing to bad marketing. And I think the lowest cost marketing is the best marketing. Like the most polished video, the most polished like ad almost never gets the same results as something that looks homemade.
That's
Like,
true.
yeah, so I love that you said that because attorneys' biggest, like most attorneys, their biggest obstacle is themselves. It's their ego. It's their perception that the market wants the best, most polished version of them out there. When the consumer, frankly, doesn't give a shit. What they really care about is, do I trust this person? And I feel like not just your delivery matters, but the delivery method, like how you shoot, how casual you take your videos. I think that speaks volumes.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that you do this, by the way, because it's like you practice what you preach too. Like,
yeah,
you got to do it. You just got to be out
you
there.
just gotta go out there. I mean, trust me, I hated it in the beginning. I love it now. But to the video end, authenticity is so important, and I want attorneys to really, really listen to this part of what I'm about to say. You have to be yourself because the person on the other side watching you on that video is going to be able to resonate with you and feel you. If they think by any stretch of their imagination that you are being phony, you lost them. You cannot be someone you're not. Yeah. So when you're on video, especially on video, you have to be your authentic self. And you'll see the difference there. I always say that all the time because I the reason I'm saying that is because I had a client of mine who did some videos with me, and I know him. And when he sent me the videos, I said to myself, "That's not you, dude." And I knew him well enough that I can be honest with him and say, "Dude, that's not you. I know you. I've known you for several years. That's not you."
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's what people forget about. What people want to see, what people find entertaining. That's not you.
Right. People like consumers have a very good bullshit antenna.
Right.
And I think that's really, you gotta reconcile the reality. Like the reality is that social media has democratized access to everyone, even like the president of the United States. And even the president of the United States is being coached not to look like the most stiff person in the world.
That's right.
And there's a reason why on presidential campaigns they tell, like, especially the male candidates, to roll up their sleeves and take off their coat. It's like they always.
I've been noticing that now.
It's like they tell them that, and it makes them look more human, more engaged. It disarms them. And I think it's the same thing in legal. Just be yourself. Like, I love it when attorneys are just they talk on camera the way they talk to me or to their clients offline. Like, I really do believe that consumers have a very sensitive bullshit meter. They don't want to be manipulated. They just want to know very quickly, can I trust you? And frankly, most consumers don't like attorneys. That's just the truth.
That's the truth.
So if you want to disarm a consumer from not trusting you, just be yourself. And I find that works wonders. That'll work better than any $100,000 commercial shoot that you have scheduled. That's going to take 9 months to prepare and launch. Just shoot it from your phone. Be yourself. Like, it's going to work wonders.
I agree. Out of curiosity, is there any particular area in the country that you're trying to dominate right now? How can we help you get to the most reach out there for you? What area in the country you're trying to get more clients out of?
I mean, just generally speaking, it's most states on the coasts. So
Okay.
Jersey, New York, the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, even though Nevada's not on the coast, plus one on Illinois. There's a huge Hispanic population out there. Like those states make up for, I think, 80% of the US Hispanic population.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's massive. Like we already did the math. I don't know the specific number, but we only work with those states right now. And then when an attorney comes to us outside of those states and wants to work with us, we do our homework with them. We just want to make sure that there's a market opportunity for them. For instance, someone in North Dakota wanted to work with us, and we told them market potential is not very rich for you in the Hispanic population, so we could work with you.
Two Hispanics in the whole neighborhood.
Like I think it was like under 15,000 or something. So it's not to say that they shouldn't be addressed, like they should be, but what we told them is like just do this organically. Our approach is something a little more widespread, where you want market reach, market share, fairly quickly, meeting next year. So generally speaking, we talk to attorneys who see a lot of Hispanics in their community and know that they need to speak to them more frequently.
Awesome sauce. That's awesome. Now give us the website one more time. I'll put a link in the show notes, but give us the website one more time.
Sure. It's Abogados Now. Abogados being the Spanish word for attorney. ABOGADOS now, NOW.com. And that's where you could find information on the wide array of services that we provide to solo practitioners, to even some of the largest firms in the United States. And if you want to chat with me, you can email me at hugo@abogadosnow.com. And I promise I will get back to you.
Awesome sauce. And I will put that email on the show notes as well. Hugo, this has been great, man. I really, really thank you for coming back. It's always great speaking to you because, you and I share a lot of the same thought processes when it comes to digital marketing for attorneys. And, at some point I would love to work on a project together. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I would like to do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. But before I let you go, is there anything that I did not ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
Do we want to work with more attorneys? Yes.
Yes, let's do it. Let's rock and roll with more attorneys. I would say, just to close this off, is beware of the overpromise statements out there. Paper leads. The paper lead is not bad, but if they're overpromising the paper lead, be very, very, be very leery of it, because it can come back to bite you.
Oh, totally.
And just play this this episode over and over again, and so that you can remind you. So with that, I am going to put an end to this episode. Thanks, Hugo, for coming once again. This has been Frank Deming, the local business guy, and you've just been blessed by the great Hugo Gomez. Take care, everyone. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms, the podcast that provides you with all the latest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you would like to know more about the topic we discussed in the show today, reach out to Frank and his team at 888-416-7752 and schedule a discovery call with one of the marketing consultants. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, send an email to podcast@lbmsllc.com and we will put you on the schedule. With that being said, until next week, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.